Everyone on Instagram makes early retirement look like Mai Tais and banana hammocks. But there's a lot that people aren't telling you.
Well, at least the gays do the banana hammocks. So this is Queer Money episode 599, and we're going to share with you today 3 big mistakes that we made when planning our early retirement so that you don't have to make these same mistakes. You don't have to learn the hard way.
This is not the good hard way.
Right, exactly. So first of all, John, why are we retiring early?
Well, we didn't quit America. America quit us. Well, so we've said this before on the show. I feel like, I don't want to sound like a whiner here, but I feel like we might have chosen the absolute worst time in history to try to launch a business, right? We had Trump 1.0, then we had COVID, now we have Trump 2.0, and that just decimated our business. And as many of you who have been following us for years have known, the last couple of months, we've lost 70 to 80% of our income relative to last year, which was not great. I don't know that we've ever paid ourselves more than.
So the most we have ever paid ourselves in 1 year was $77,000, and that's combined. So we have never been living a rich life that now I obviously I know that $77,000 combined is about the average, close to the average annual income for households, but many of you know that $77,000 for 2 people is not enough to really have a flourishing life. But we have done this in part because we've had 3 employees. We wanted to help other people in the queer community. So we employed a video producer, we employed an audio producer, we employed a VA who were all in the queer community. And that was one of the ways that we gave back to the community, was by using the money that we were making to help other people make a living. And for that reason, we have never really made a great money,
but we've lost a lot of income. And so we're kind of being forced into early retirement, but also we're actually kind of jumping into it because we can do that despite the fact that our income hasn't been huge over the last 10 to 12 years. We've been practicing, for the most part, what we've been preaching, and now we're able to reap the rewards of that. A couple of weeks ago, we're kind of playing a little numbers game here because a couple of weeks ago we shared with you all how we're going to tap into IRS Rule 72T so that we can start tapping into our retirement dollars earlier. But in part, we can do that because we've been investing, saving, and we just struggle because of our business and where it stands. We just struggle with the recurring cash flow. 72T will allow us to be able to bridge that gap. We'll still continue to Queer Money in our Yahoo Finance show to the extent that we can, but we're looking to live abroad. And that's kind of why we're being forced into it. But in that transition into early retirement, whether we're jumping or being pushed into it, we've realized that there are some things that we could have done better in hindsight. And that's what we want to share with you today so that you don't have to have the same impasse that we're experiencing right now. And you can prepare a little bit better for those of you who are thinking about retirement and want the option to possibly retire early as well.
And I will say, one of the things that you and I have done is when we realized that our income was dropping because of the attacks on DEI and companies literally saying to us, we don't want to do anything with you because we're worried that doing something with you is going to cause us to have it be attacked by the Trump administration.
We're polarizing.
You and I immediately said, okay, well, we're not ready to retire. We had the kind of mindset that we wouldn't be retiring until I reach 59 and a half and we can start tapping into our retirement money without having to pay taxes, or I'm sorry, that 10% penalty. But we both tried to find jobs. I mean, literally, 3 months ago, we were kind of on a path to thinking that maybe we were going to be moving to New York and we would be getting jobs there because there was some it looked like
I had a potential opportunity.
Yeah, it looked a little bit, but I've applied to probably close to more than 50 jobs in a matter of about 3 months. And even for jobs where I had people in the company who were VPs and SVPs who were on my side telling the hiring manager that they should put me through an interview, ghosted by those companies. Nothing, didn't hear anything from them. And one of them is a former employer of mine that I think very highly of, and now I'm not so sure.
And this isn't a unique experience that we talked with other people who are going through similar challenges and just applying for jobs on LinkedIn and Indeed and whatnot, it's almost an exercise in futility because so few people are actually getting a response back from a human. And so few of those are actually like, hey, let's come in for an interview. But then what we also have heard from people who have gone through similar challenges is that then they put you through like this 12 interview process and it takes them like 6 months to come to a decision when you need to get paid now.
Right. Yeah. I had a job interview in April, the beginning of April. And the person told me that they would be making a decision in May so they could hire somebody in June. In the middle of May, I contacted that person who had interviewed me, and she said, oh, well, I was in California for work and I haven't made a decision yet. And we'll be making a decision sometime soon. And again, ghosted, didn't hear anything back from them. I don't even know whether or not they filled the position, but we kind of started coming to this. You and I started talking about this. We're like, why are we stressing all about this?
We don't need to. We have other options.
Well, go back all the way to 2006. You and I, we started living a very modest lifestyle. We get this attack regularly on social media when we say that we have $1.5 million saved in retirement. Oh, you guys are the rich gays. It was so easy for you. Right. It was easy for me to say, no, I'm not going to get the kind of car that I want. I'm going to drive a used car for 15 years. It was easy for us to say no to our real estate agent when they kept on showing us homes that we could afford. And we said, no, we want to buy something that if one of us got laid off, we could be able to cover the mortgage.
So it was 1,000 square feet condo that was only 1 times our annual income.
Right.
Or 1 time.
one and a half. It was easy for us to say no to our friends who kept on saying, let's go live the life that you used to live, right? The life of going to brunches every Sunday, the life of going out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the life of going to the concerts all the time, it was so easy for us to say, no, we don't want to do that. It wasn't. It was really hard for us to say, we're going to live a cheap life so that we can finally get our financial shit together.
So we did do some things right. And like we said, we've been practicing what we've been preaching, but we did do some things wrong. And that's what we want to share with you today. So what are the 3 things that we did wrong? Well, the first is that we didn't do enough Roth conversions early enough. We only really started that a couple of years ago.
Actually,
Or how many have we
last
done?
year? We did one last year.
Yeah. So
we can't afford to do one this year because we don't have the money to pay the taxes.
Right. So Roth conversions is a process that allows you to move pre-tax dollars or pre-tax money into a Roth IRA. So you pay the taxes now and you get the tax-free growth until you touch that money. Well, a lot of times people who do early retirement, they tap their Roth IRA money first. After that money has been in the account for at least 5 years, you can start withdrawing on that money. And we don't have as flush of a Roth IRA accounts or as flush of Roth IRA accounts as we would like to have. So we wish we would have done the Roth conversions earlier and more frequently, so that we'd have more money right now to bridge us between now that I'm 51, David's 54, to bridge us between now and 59 and a half when we could actually start tapping our retirements without actually having to use IRS Rule 72T or the 10% penalty. So our advice to you is, to the extent that you can, talk to your accountant and try to start implementing Roth IRA conversions now as early as possible and do as frequently as possible so that you have the option to retire early if you want or need to.
And I will say, for those of you who are younger, try to put some of your money, your retirement money, into Roth accounts so you don't have to do the Roth conversion and pay those taxes. Pay those taxes early on, right? The second mistake that we made was that we didn't max out or we didn't contribute more to our health savings accounts, HSAs. The benefit with HSAs is their triple tax advantage, right? You don't pay taxes on the money that you put into it. It grows and you don't have to pay taxes on that growth. And then when you take the money out, as long as you're using that for qualified health expenses, you don't have to pay taxes on that money coming out. And that's whether you're 59 and a half, right? What you can do that when you're 22, 42, 62, 82, all of those tax benefits apply. We wish we would have done more. And the primary reason for that is today, all of our medical expenses are coming out of pocket. And if we had had more money in our health savings accounts, we would be able to cover those kinds of expenses. Because we have less income, we could cover those kinds of expenses with that investment income.
I'll say that I didn't utilize my HSA as much. I think they were kind of just being rolled out when I started my career, and they weren't really like, it wasn't the thing that was hammered into your head all throughout high school and college. Like once you get a job, contribute as much as you can to your 401k. That was like almost ingrained in my head from my dad from an early age. The tapping into your or utilizing an HSA wasn't really the message wasn't really as loud, and I wasn't smart enough to say, oh, I can see the benefit here down the road. So we're trying to hopefully educate you so that you can see the benefit to start doing it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Number 3 and final mistake here, and David alluded to it earlier, is contributing more to after-tax accounts, which would be a Roth IRA, but it could also be brokerage accounts. The more that you have in those accounts, the more money you have to be able to bridge the gap between your early retirement and when you actually reach the age of 59 and a half and can tap into your retirement account dollars. It just makes it a little bit easier. It's not impossible, but it just makes it a little bit easier if you have access to that. If you want to circumvent these regulations of 401ks and traditional IRAs, because you want to retire early, similar to the way David and I are doing, catch a video on IRS Rule 72T, which may be on the screen somewhere here. We're not entirely sure, but you can always go to Google our channel there and search there. So our recommendation here is to start building after-tax investments early to cover living expenses in your 50s and early 60s until you can actually start to tap into your pre-tax retirement dollars.
Yeah. So to recap, there are 3 things that we wish we would have done more. 1, we wish we would have started Roth conversions earlier, especially when we had the income to be able to pay the tax consequences for that. 2, we wish we would have contributed more to our health savings accounts. And 3, we wish we would have put more money into after-tax, like a brokerage account. You know, the thing is here, it is still possible to retire early, and you can do it in a fabulous way if you plan ahead and you don't make some of the mistakes that we made and don't have to start tapping into that retirement money. So if you want to be able to retire fabulously, remember to download the Happy Gay Retirement Calculator, which is the QR code is right here over John's head. And then how many of you want to retire or are planning on retiring early? Share in the comments what you're doing or planning to do and able to retire early. If you like this video, remember to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and set notifications.
Thank you for joining us for another episode. Next week, we're going to talk about great cities in New Zealand to retire. Pretty excited for that. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about the U.S. exit tax for those who are renouncing citizenships. A lot of LGBTQ people are looking to leave this country hard and fast, but Trump is going to claw back some money on your way out if you don't do it right.
To be clear, it's always been this case that there is this exit tax when you renounce citizenship, but many people want to drop Trump like a hot mic, us included, but there are some major tax consequences that could hit your retirement savings and your personal savings really hard to make it so that you actually aren't able to enjoy life outside the country.
If you're renouncing your citizenship. So until next time, stay fabulous. For help retiring fabulously, check out our episode, The 5 Steps That We Took That We Actually Did Right, for your gay retirement guide.